Hey, how's it going out there? In this video, I'm going to review why it may be a good idea to apply for a green card before the upcoming presidential election of November of 2024 here in the United States. My name is Rodrigo Canido. I'm an immigration attorney and I do videos on different immigration topics and how to get legal status here in the United States. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Alright, so to understand why it may be a good idea to apply for a green card before the upcoming election, it's important to understand one of the requirements that the government looks at if you're applying for a green card. Alright, so one of the things the government wants to see is that whether you're going to be dependent on the government for financial support if they do give you a green card. And the way they check that now is they have you submit a form called I-64. Now this is a general requirement. It might be a little bit different, for some people, but generally that's what people need to submit if they're applying through a family member. All right. So you submit this form along with, additional supporting documents, and essentially that's what they're going to use to decide whether you're, going to be dependent on the government for financial support. Now, previously, under the Trump administration, as you know, Trump is running for president against Biden, right? Under the Trump administration, there was an additional form that was required, Form I-944, all right? So with this form, what the government was looking at, they were actually looking at a lot of different factors to see whether you're someone who would be dependent on the government. So what type of factors did they look at? They looked at your age, they looked at your health, they looked at what assets you had, what type of financial support you had, what's your level of education, how long you've been in the United States. All right, so they looked at a lot of different factors to determine if you're someone who would be dependent on the government for financial support. By the way, that form I-944 was 18 pages, all right? So with that form, they also required you to submit supporting documents. All right, so some of the supporting documents that you may have had to submit are documents that show your debts, what type of debts you had, documents that show what type of health insurance you had, what's your level of education, so transcripts or a certificate from your school where you went. All right, they also looked at your credit score. All right, they looked at what type of savings you had, so you would have needed to send evidence of your savings. All right, so they looked at a lot of different factors and they required this evidence to support, your answers to some of those questions on that form. All right, so generally it was a lot more work. And if you're familiar with the green card process, you know that already, when you're submitting your application, there's a lot that goes with that. There's a lot of forms, a lot of evidence, all right? So this is just something that was stacked on top of all the other evidence and documents, right, that you need to submit before. So generally it was a lot more work. Another thing to keep in mind is many people, of course, hire an attorney to help them with the green card. So an attorney could see, right, the additional work involved, the form, additional evidence, all those things that the attorney had to review that they didn't have to review before, and could easily charge you more money. So generally, this application could cost you more than it would have before that form was required. All right, and perhaps the most important issue was the uncertainty, right? So I told you that they used to look at a lot of different factors: your age, your health, education. So what if you're someone older in age? Does that make you less likely to qualify? How about, if you have debts, credit card debts? What if you never went past high school in terms of your education? These are all factors that the government was looking at more thoroughly, or I should say thoroughly, to determine if you're someone who would qualify to receive a green card based on the thinking maybe you'll be dependent on the government for financial support. All right, so I think there was a lot of uncertainty during that time on who would qualify and who wouldn't. Now look, I don't know who's going to win the election. I don't know if it's Trump. I don't know if it's Biden, right? But it's possible, right? If Trump wins and he implements these requirements as his administration had before, that it would be more difficult to apply for a green card. So that's one reason why you might consider applying for a green card now if you believe you qualify. And I always say, right, I always put it in the description below my videos, you know, to always speak with an immigration attorney generally before moving forward with an immigration case. All right, just to be sure you're on the right track on what you're supposed to be doing. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. By the way, my contact information is below if you'd like to get a hold of me. And I hope you got something out of watching this video.